will see, right, what are we have discussed yesterday, right? So we have discussed yesterday the solving type 2 standard PDE, that is Claude's form, that is z equals to px plus qy plus some function of p and q, right? So today we will see type 3 PDE. Okay, so I just share my screen. Wait for 1 minute. I just share my screen. So whether my screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday itself I just started the type 3, right? So in type 3 the important thing is it is of the form a function of ZPQ, a function of ZPQ. That is just like in type 1 PDE. In type 1 PDE we have only P and Qs in the equation, right? Similarly here we have only ZPQs and X and Y is not occur explicitly, but still x and y's are ZPQs are functions of x and y. So inside ZPQ, x and y is there, but explicitly it is not there in the equation. So that type is called as type 3 PDE, which is of the form any function of any form of PDE which contains ZPQ. So that they call it as function of ZPQ. So function of ZPQ means any equation which contains Z, P and Q's only, right? So in that case, okay, just like in type 1, type 2, in type 3 we assume that the solution is of the form Z equals to some arbitrary function f. In some books they use the letter 5 in place of f, right? But whatever be, whether it is f or 5, so we assume that Z is equals to some arbitrary function phi with an argument x plus ay. So this is our assumption. Just like in type 1, type 2, we assume that the solution of the form Z equals to ax plus by plus c. So here, instead of arbitrary constants, we assume an arbitrary function with an arbitrary constant. That a is a arbitrary constant. So this is our assumption as the solution of the given PD, right? So now from here, from this relation, what we'll get? Previously in type 1 and type 2, from the assumption we get P equals to A and Q equals to B. That only we substituted in the original equation. So here from this assumption, what we are getting, that is very, very important. So first thing is you have to put that x plus AY as U and assume that, or just name that ax plus y as U, right? Ax plus y as U. So automatically z equals to function of x plus ay can be written as z is equals to some function of u. So now if you differentiate z with respect to x, but it is not possible. If you differentiate z with respect to x, right answer x should be there, but x is not visibly there. So using chain rule, we can write dou z by dou x can be written as, if you differentiate the right hand side, we can differentiate only with respect to u. So we can write dou z by dou u, and then we can differentiate u with respect to x, because why? Because u is a function of x and y. So this is a chain rule, you know already in school level itself. So dou z by dou x can be written as dz by du into dou u by dou x. So otherwise we can write, if z equals to f of u, means that is same as f of x plus ay, right? F of x plus ay. Right? So if you want to differentiate z with respect to x, then you can't do directly. You can't do directly because right hand side f is there. So you can write this as dou z by dou x is nothing but f dash of x plus ay f dash of x plus ay. This f dash of x plus ay is nothing but that dou z by dou u. That is differentiating z with respect to u. U is f of u, some function of u. So if you differentiate that function, it becomes f dash of x plus ay, and then differentiating u with respect to x. What is u? U is x plus y. So dou u by dou x. Sorry. U equals to u equals to x plus a. So dou u by dou x is 1. So if you want to differentiate z with respect to x, you have to differentiate the function first, that is f dash of x plus ay. Then you differentiate the inside thing, that is 1. So this is p, right? And this f dash of x plus ay is nothing but dou z by dou u. And this dou u by dou x is nothing but 1, right? Now the same thing we have to do it for q. How? Again, q is nothing but dou z by dou y. Dou z by dou y. But you can't differentiate the right hand side with respect to y directly. You have to differentiate only with respect to u. So with respect to u means that is f dash of u. Otherwise f dash of x plus ay. F dash of u or f dash of x plus ay. And then whatever inside this, that you can differentiate with respect to y. So if what was inside this, if you differentiate x, if you differentiate with respect to y, x is like a constant, so 0. And if you differentiate ay, it becomes y. Right? So now if you see from these two relations, right, p and q, p is dou z dz by du. Q is a times dz by du. So now this you can write a times, in place of dz by du, since dz by du is equals to p, you can write put p. Then we have a relation q equals to a times p. So how this relation comes? Because of this assumption. Because of this assumption, we got a relation q equals to ap. Now what you have to do now? You have to put this relation in the original equation. Now we will see that with an example. Then only you can easily understand. So I just go to an example. So you can see this example, z equals to p square plus q square. P square plus q square. Since it contains only z, p and q's, it is of the form type 3. Since it is of the form type 3, we can apply that condition and we can get a relation like this. That is, p is dz by du, q is a times dz by du, otherwise q is a times p. Q is a times p. Right? Q is a times p. 1 minute. Right. So now I work it out this problem because in offline class I worked it out in a simple manner, because here they put dz by du. It is little bit confusing. So whatever I work it out, just like in the offline classes, I try to work it out this. So follow me. So the given problem is z equals to p square plus q square. So as per the theory, it is a function of z, p and q. Right? So this is a function of z, p and q. So it is like this format. So this implies it is type 3. Then we can write q equals to a times p, and we substitute this and substitute this in the original equation. What is the original equation? The original equation is nothing but this one. If you substitute, what will happen? Z equals to p square. In place of q square, you can write ap the whole square. That is a square plus p square. Right? So in place of q square, you can substitute a square, p square. So now you can take p square out. and you can write this as 1 plus a square. This implies p square is equals to z by 1 plus a square. This implies p is equals to square root of z by 1 plus a square. So finally what you got? P is equals to square root of 1 plus square root of z by 1 plus a square. Right? So the same thing they are putting in the book also, but instead of p they write dz by du, but it is better to write like this. Then nicely you get the p value, that is square root of z by 1 plus a square. Square root of z by 1 plus a square. That is nothing here. They write square root of z by 1 plus a square only. They write like this. Root z by root of 1 plus a square. They write dz by du, but dz by du is nothing but p. See, they write dz by du, but dz by du is nothing but p. So this is nothing but p. So now we found p. Right. Now how to solve this? That is very, very important. Right? How to solve this? Because here we can't put directly in this in any because previously we put find a in terms of b and b in terms of a in type 1, and we substitute that value in the equation and we got complete solution very in a straightforward manner. But here that type of things is not possible, because in the assumption itself there is a arbitrary function is there. Right? So now what we have to do? Listen carefully. There is a relation is there in which is called as total differential. That is, if z is a function of x and y, that is a function of x and y. If z is a function of x and y, or I can write like this. Wait. Z equals to f of x comma y z equals to f of x comma y then p z can be written as p dx plus q dy. Right? So you should remember this. How it comes? What is p? P is nothing but the rate of change of z with respect to x. That is multiplied with dx. Right? And this what is q? Rate of change of z with respect to y. That is multiplied with dy. Right? So these are nothing but rate of change of z with respect to x. This is rate of change of z with respect to y. Right? Now using the total differential idea, the total differential dz can be written as whatever changes occur with respect to for z with respect to x, that is multiplied with dx times, and with respect to y multiplied with dy times, then that is equivalent to the total change in z, that is called dz. This is not dou, this is d. This is dou, this is d. So try to understand, this is dou. This is partial derivative. Right? Only change in z with respect to x only. This is change in z with respect to y only. But this dz means total change. So total change can be written like this. Now using this, we can able to solve this problem. How? Very simple. You can write dz. Right? Just now we found p is nothing but root z by root of 1 plus a square. Root z by root of 1 plus a square. Just now we found p equals to square root of 1 plus a square. So this is p into dx. That is dx plus q. What is this? This is q. But what is q? Q is nothing but a times p. That we already know. Q is nothing but a times p. So if simply write a times What is P? P is again square root of Z divided by square root of 1 plus A square into dy. So this is by total differential, you can write like this. But here this is dx. This is, there is no x obviously or explicitly there. Even though x is inside Z, but it is not explicitly there. Now what you have to do now, you take this Z term to the left hand side like this. Square root of 1 plus A square dz by root z. So when it comes to the left hand side, the numerator comes to denominator and the denominator goes to numerators, right? So the numerator comes to denominator, the denominator goes to numerator. And the right hand side, it is simply dx plus a dy. Dx plus a dy, because why? Because I am taken this term common. This term only I am taken common and I taken the outer right hand side, sorry, left hand side. Right, so now we have square root of 1 plus a square divided by into dz by root z equals to dx plus a dy. Now if you want to solve this, you have to integrate both sides. Right? So right hand side integration is very simple. Integral of dx is x plus a times, because a is arbitrary constant, a times. Integral of dy is y. And whenever if you integrate, you have to add a arbitrary constant c. So I add an arbitrary constant c in the right hand side. Right? So x plus ay plus c comes in the right hand side. But what happened to the left hand side? Right? It is dz by root z into root of 1 plus a square. Right? Now listen carefully. Right side LHS, no problem. LHS is x plus ay plus c. So no problem. Now I will just solve what is, sorry, RHS is no problem. X plus ay plus c. Now I will solve what is LHS. Right? What is LHS? Listen carefully. So this is LHS, square root of 1 plus a square. Since this is a constant, I am taken outside. I just only integrate dz by root z. dz by root z. Right? Because root z in the denominator, root of 1 plus a square in the numerator, but it is a constant, so it can be taken outside the integral. And right hand side, it is of the form x plus ay plus an integrating constant c is there. Right. So now how to integrate dz by root z? Anybody knows what is the integral of 1 by root z? Anybody knows what is integral of 1 by root z?
3 by 2, sir.
Huh?
3 by 2.
1 by 2?
2 by 2. Yes, sir. Root z is equal to 1 by 2, sir. The value of the root.
No, what is integral of 1 by root x or 1 by root z? Integrate, what will come?
Sir.
What will come? Root z if integrate, what will come?
3 by 2, sir.
Huh?
1 by 2 plus 1.
1 by
3
2
by
plus
2,
1.
sir.
3 by 2.
Sir. Yes, sir.
It is in the denominator, man. Anyway, I will write. See, 1 by root z means 1 by z power of. Right? 1 by z power of. That can be written as square root of, taking z in the numerator, and you can write this as z power minus of. So this you already know. Right? So z power of in the denominator, but once it comes to the numerator, it becomes z power minus of. Now what is integral of z power minus of? What is integral of z power minus of? Root of 1 plus a square as it is. What is integral of z power minus of? What is integral of x power n? Anybody? What is integral of x power n?
M plus 1, sir.
N plus 1. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So z power minus half plus 1. Right? X power n means x power n plus 1 divided by, so in place of n, minus half is there. In place of n, minus of is there. Now tell me what will happen. Root of 1 plus a square as it is. What is minus of plus 1? What is minus of plus 1?
1 by 2, sir.
1 by 2. So this is z power 1 by 2
1 by 2.
divided by 1 by 2.
Yes, sir.
Right? But still it is in the denominator of denominator. This comes to numerator. So this can be written as square root of 1 plus a square into 2 times root z. 2 times root z. So integral of 1 by root z is nothing but 2 root z. Integral of 1 by root z is nothing but 2 root z. And this 1 by root of 1 plus a square is as it is. So finally what we got? Root of 1 plus a square times 2 root z. That only they give in the book also. Here finally, right? You can see here root of 1 plus a square into 2 root z. And in the right hand side, right, x plus ay plus c is there. So left hand side is 2 times square root of 1 plus a square root z is equals to x plus ay plus c. Now you can see this equation, right? So in this equation, left hand side z is there. That is the dependent variable. Right hand side independent variables are there. That is x and y. How many arbitrary constants are there in this equation? How many arbitrary constants are there?
A, sir.
2. What are the 2 arbitrary constants? A and C. Right?
Yes, sir.
A and
Yes,
C,
sir.
2 arbitrary constants. Then,
Yes.
according to the definition of the complete solution, if any equation contains the dependent variable and the relation between the dependent variable and the independent variable is called as a solution. And moreover, it is called as a complete solution if the number of arbitrary constants in that solution is equals to the number of independent variable, then the solution can be called as complete solution. So, in this equation, when you see, right, we have the relation between dependent variable and independent variable, so we call it as a solution. Moreover, it has 2 arbitrary constant and we have 2 independent variables, so we call this as the complete solution or complete integral. We call this equation as a complete solution or complete integral, right? Okay, so this solves the problem for complete solution. Now if you want to find general solution of this, you have to follow the same procedure what we have followed in type 1, right? We have to put c equals to some function of a. So here there is 1 minute. So here they put in place of c, they put c as h of a. H of a means some function of a. Then differentiate this equation, that is equation number 3, with respect to a, right? So here you can see they can put c equals to some h of a. Then differentiating this function with respect to a, you will get this, right? Differentiating that function with respect to a, you will get this, right? Then you have to write a line for all the problems. You just tell eliminating a between equations 2 and 4. So 4 means this equation. After differentiate the function with respect to a, that is 2, that is 4, and 2 is nothing but this equation or this equation, right? Wherever it is, right? So you can, if you remove a in between this equation number 3, because equation 2 and 3 are same, you are putting c equals to h by a. So 2 and 3 are same. So removing a from this equation and from this equation in somewhat using these 2 relations, then you will get a general solution. But that solving is very, very difficult. At your level, it's not necessary. So you simply write, after putting c equals to some function of a, either f of a or h of a, you have to differentiate that equation with respect to a, and then you write this simple line eliminating a between before differentiation, after differentiation. That 2 equations will get the general solution. But for this, singular solution is not possible. but that no need, because in examination they don't ask. If it exists, they will ask. If it doesn't exist, they don't ask, right? So you don't worry. So this is the end of the problem, right? I think you understand this, right? So our procedure is very simple. You have to put Q equals to A times P, Q equals to A times P. Then wherever Q is there, you substitute in terms of P. Then you have to find P. If you find P, that is nothing but root Z by root of 1 plus A square. So this is nothing but P, right? After finding P, you have to use this rule, dz equals to P dx plus Q dy. That is the total differential rule, right? You can use this rule, right? Since you already know P, right? You substitute here. Q is nothing but A times P, right? So you substitute the P value also here, and then you have to take all the Z terms on the left hand side. So left hand side only Z terms, right hand side it is only x plus AY. So that x plus AY is nothing but U. So if you expand that U, you will get x plus AY. But when you integrate du, you will get U. So, but when you integrate, you have to put a arbitrary constant in the right hand side. So that arbitrary constant is C. But in the left hand side, idea is entirely different. Here you have to integrate dz with respect to z. That you have to use the simple idea, integral x power n formula, and you can get this, right? So this is the relation between the independent variable and the dependent variable. Moreover, you have two arbitrary constants which is equals to the number of independent variables. So we call this as a complete solution. We call this as a complete solution. Okay, right. I'll teach you with another example also, then only you can easily understand, right? So now we'll see one more example also for the same problem. So here the problem is 9p square z plus q square is equals to 4, right? So this we take, right? So now what you have to do now, you have to put, since this is of type 3, in place of q we can put ap. So this can be written as 9 times p square z plus q square can be written as a square p square into 4, right? So from that we can take p square outside. Then it is something like z plus a square is equals to 4 by 9. So this 9 comes from here, right? So p square times z plus a square equals to 4 by 9. In other words, p can be written as 2 by 3 plus or minus 2 by 3 square root of z plus a square, square root of z plus a square. So this is the p value. So what is p? Plus or minus 2 by 3 square root of z plus a square, that only they did here. So see, dz by du is nothing but 2 by 3 square root of z plus a square, right? So 2 by 3 root of z plus a square. So now I will see the letter. So what we got? P equals to 2 by 3 square root of z plus a square. So now you can write dz as p dx plus q dy, right? So dz again can be written as p is 2 by 3 square root of z plus a square into x plus q is a times p. So a times 2 by 3 square root of z plus a square dy. Right? So again the same idea, right? Since it is only a function of z, you can take this on the other side and you can write this as again 3 by 2 square root of z plus a square dz is equals to dx plus dy. So what I did, I take this term 2 by 3 z plus a square to the other side, then it becomes 3 by 2 square root of z plus a square. Right? So now the thing is how to integrate. Right hand side, no problem. It is simply x plus a is there because I forgot a because q is a times p. So I forgot this a. So this a is there. A times y plus c. Now anybody tell how to integrate the left hand side? How to integrate the left hand side? How to integrate? That only they written here. See, 3 by 2 is there, square root of z plus a square. This integral du is nothing but x plus ay plus c. So LHS no problem. Sorry, RHS no problem. RHS no problem. Right? Only LHS you have to listen. Right? So what is LHS? 3 by 2 square root of z plus a square dz. Right? So now still it is in the polynomial form. Right? Again we have to apply the same rule. Right? That is x power n rule. So z plus a square root can be considered as half. So this is n plus 1. That is half plus 1 divided by half plus 1. Right? Then half plus 1 is nothing but 3 by 2. So this is also 3 by 2. This is also 3 by 2. And here x plus ay equals to c. X plus ay is equals to c. So now you can further you can simplify. You can simplify this, cancel this 2 and 2, and then you can cancel 3 and 3, right? And you can do further simplification. But here itself you can understand one simple thing, right? Whatever now you are getting containing only the dependent variable z and the independent variable x and y, right? And then the two arbitrary constants a and c. There is no arbitrary function here. So now we call this as a complete solution of the given PDE because it contains the relation between the independent variable and the dependent variable, and also the number of independent variable is same as the number of arbitrary constants. So we call this as the complete solution of the given PDE. Further simplification you can do, right? Further simplification you can do, then you will get a nice form like this. Right? Once you get a nice form, you can call it as a complete solution. Then after finding in order to find general solution, the same routine process, you have to put c equals to some function of a, and you have to differentiate that with respect to a. So if you differentiate this with respect to a, and then removing a from the differentiated equation with the original equation, you will get the general solution. You will get the general solution. We'll get the general solution. Right. Right. So now I think you can understand about type 3. Very simple. You have to put q equals to ap and you have to find p. After finding p, you have to substitute that in the form of that total differential dz equals to p dx plus q dy. There if you substitute p value and in place of q, you substitute a into p value, and then you take all the z terms on the other side, then nicely you will get the complete solution of the type 3 PD. Complete solution of the type 3 PD. Right? So now, yeah, our 10 more minutes time is there, right? Type 4 we will see because type 4 is very simple. It's just like type 3, only one small change is there, right? So once within 10 minutes we will see type 4 also, so that we will finish up this unit, I think, but at least this section, right? So here it is. there are lot of subcategories are there. Type 3. Right. So now you want to type 4, very simple one. Right. So in type 4, except Z, all X, Y's and P and Q's can be there in the differential equation. Can be there in the differential equation. So type 1, only P and Q. Type 2, Clair's form. Type 3, Z, P, Q is there, but no X and Y. But in type 4, X, Y, P, Q's are there, but there is no Z, obviously, in the equation. But there is one more condition is there, that in that equation, X and P should be separated on one side, but Y and Q should be separated on the other side. I will explain this through an example, then you can understand, right? So when you look at this example, P minus Y square equals to Q plus X square. So this is a PDE containing X, Y, P and Q, but there is no Z. So this you can call it as type 4. Why? Because it is not only doesn't contain Z, it contains only X, Y, P, Q. Moreover that you can write, see, you can take this X square on this side, left hand side, and you can write it as P minus X square, and you take this Y square on the right hand side and you can write it as Y plus, Q plus Y square. So you should write X and P on one side and Q and Y on the other side. If you are able to separate that equation in such a form, then we call this as type 4. So it is a separable type. Separable type means that equation in the PDE, you can separate P and X on one side, where P is the derivative with respect to X, and Q and Y on the other side, where Q is the derivative with respect to Y. Once you do that thing, right, like this, right, by mathematical induction, if two things are equal, that is can be right as equivalent to a arbitrary constant. If you say some two unknowns are equal, X, Y equals to Y, means what it means? X has some value, Y has the same value. We call that value as C. Right? In the same way, P minus X square has some value, the same value as Q plus Y square. What is that value? That I call that value as A. But it is not a fixed one, it is arbitrary, because X and Y keep on changing, A also will keep on changing. So it is not fixed constant, it is arbitrary constant. So I can write, after separation, I can write P minus X square equals Q plus Y square equals to A, where A is a constant. Now, what you have to do now? Combining 1 and 3, we can write P equals to A plus X square by taking X square on the other side. Right? So P minus X square is equals to A can be written as P equals to X square plus A. Similarly, Q plus Y square equals to A. That can be written as Q plus Y square equal to A can be written as Q equals to A minus Y square. A minus Y square. A minus Y square. So you have here P is not A, Q is not A into P. P is different, Q is different. But the common thing is A, right? So it is X and A, this is Y and A. So now once you find P value and Q value, just whatever I told for type 3, dz equals to P dx plus Q dy. Dz equals to P dx plus Q dy. So here in place of P, you can substitute here, that is P dx. In place of Q, you can substitute this. So dz equals to P dx plus Q dy. But now, luckily we have X with the dx and Y with the dy, so directly we can integrate. There is no Z here. If it is Z here, then only we can take that to the other side and then you have to integrate. But here, luckily, we have nicely P in terms of X and Q in terms of Y. So directly we can integrate this. So how to integrate? We know integral of X square is X cubed by 3. A is a constant, so integral of constant is A times X. Similarly, integral of A is A times Y, because here you are integrating with respect to Y. See, since you are integrating with respect to X, you are getting AX. But here if you are integrating with respect to Y, you are getting AY. And integral of Y square is Y cubed by 3. And since you are integrating, you have to put a arbitrary constant, because there is no limit. So if there is no limits means you have to put a arbitrary constant C. Now you can see this, right? Z is there, X and Y is there, two independent variables, and A and C is there, two arbitrary constants. So now we call this as the complete solution of the given PDE. The complete solution of the given PDE. So here type 4 is very simple. What is type 4? Type 4 contains only P and Qs and XYZ, P and Qs and X and YZ, but such a manner that P and X should be written on one side. Whatever may be the equation, P and X should be separated on one side, and Q and Y should be separated on the other side. If it is separated, we can equate it to an arbitrary constant A. Mathematically, if two things are equal means that is equals to some constant value that we call it as A, that is the arbitrary constant. Once you equate it to A, you have to do this, right? After equating to A, you have to do this simple transformation, writing P in terms of X in A and Q in terms of Y and A. Then directly substituted in this equation, that is nothing but dz is equals to P dx plus Q dy. P dx plus Q dy. Right? So P value substitute here, X square plus A, Q value substitute here, A minus Y square, and directly integrate. Directly integrating. Right? So I gave some homework problems to your friends also in such a manner that I will give some homework problem, the same two homework problem. Right? So I'll take the attendance now. Right? In between time, you note it down this problem. Example 12, that is P square Y times 1 plus X square equals to QX square. Right? This is a homework for you. Right? Then if suppose we write this, you tell okay, then I will give you the second homework problem, that is this. Right? So give your attendance at the same time. Try to copy that problem also. Right? You have to solve this in the assignment notebook, right, where I give the first assignment. Right? So for assignments, homework problem, everything you have to write it in a single notebook, and classworks you have to write it in other notebook. Right? Okay. So write down example 12 first. If you